Okay, so it's been a couple of days since Wuthering Waves version 2.3 first got released. Now, obviously, a ton of people have been really enjoying the update, kind of exploring, and also trying out their new Zani, who's been absolutely amazing, by the way. She's been dealing a ton of damage and pretty much, just carrying a lot of teams. But one thing I wanted to talk about today is something that heavily affects the update in general, which is to do with the advertising, which I saw a tweet that went pretty viral lately over one little small thing, which I thought was kind of cringe, and I thought just didn't really fit the whole Wuthering Waves theme. So let's get into it. Obviously, this tweet was from someone called LAUGHABLY, and they say, I'm just going to drop this right here, alright? And it's got, 700,000 views and 7.6 thousand likes. Now, I'm going to warn you right now, this is incredibly hard to watch, okay? It's a hard to watch advert. It's not great at all, but let's get into it.
So my friend told me there's this game where I'm destined to find my type of character. So today, I'm doing the No Thirst Challenge. Right here, I'm putting on this heart rate monitor. If my heart rate goes over 100, I'm downloading that game on the spot. All right, here we go.
Oh dear.
She's the one! My destined waifu! I need her! Download Wuthering Waves now!
Now, obviously, as you can see, this is an official Wuthering Waves advert, and it was extremely cringe. I'm gonna be honest, obviously the whole waifu aspect of that and the whole Gathering Rise aspects, I'm not too opposed to the whole Gathering Rise aspect and the fact that there's a lot of women in the game that you can go ahead and collect or whatever and pull for. Obviously, that is a big driving factor for a lot of people in some gacha games, I play Nikkei, I play Azulane, there's a big driving factor to pull for as many girls as possible in a game. Now, I do understand that, but the difference is between these two is that they don't have these cringe adverts. Now, maybe they do and I haven't seen them, but Wuthering Waves, they've somehow gone out of their way and found these people to create these adverts for them, and, well, they're just not good, Obviously, I wouldn't mind the whole Gathering Rise aspect or the thing where he's like, let's try not to thirst for one of the, characters in the game, if it was done in a little bit more of a tasteful way, but let's be real, they haven't tried in any way, shape, or form, this is just cringe. They're trying to be funny, they're trying to, I don't know, be over the top, which I just don't think really works. Obviously, it's probably going to put more people off than actually drive more people into the game, because, again, this is an advert. This isn't something that's supposed to be, just a random video that's supposed to be funny and you look at it and go, huh, that was kind of cringe. No, this is like an advert that's supposed to be advertising the game and some of the new characters that are coming to the game, including Zani. Now, this isn't actually the first time that we've seen this. Obviously, I made a video previously about this advert as well, which was another thing that happened. I'm pretty sure this came out whenever Carlotta came out, although I'm not too sure. It might have been actually around Cantarella's time. This is a new one, actually. Wait, no, this is actually a new one. Hold up. This is a new one, but again, they keep doing similar ones to this, where you do like a little call with one of the characters.
I am Carlotta Monte, the second lady of the Montelli family. Whether it's for business or building friendships, you can rely on.
So again, and then it goes like choose your partner, which honestly, I just think it's extremely cringe as well. I feel like there are better ways of doing these adverts and better ways of getting people enticed and involved with the characters that could just, work better. I mean, that's all I can say. I know I'm saying better a lot, but, there's different ways to do this. And obviously, we could look at other games, for example, like Nikkei, like Azulane, in the kind of, character collecting aspects of it and see how they do it in a much more tasteful way, which actually ends up being more effective than the original cringe way that they're trying to go about it right now, which honestly I think would be a much better thing for Wuthering Waves, and I really hope that they do kind of sort that out. Now, I don't know if this is Wuthering Waves giving these people the exact directions to do this and telling them, hey, this is how we want it, we want you to do this thirst challenge or something like that, or we want you to do this choose a partner kind of advert, or if this is something where they've given them a lot of creative control and they said to this guy on the other video, hey, do whatever you want with this, just try to make it a little bit funny, just try to make it a little bit cringe or whatever. But at the same time, it just comes off looking really bad. I'd much rather see the adverts that they used to do of people playing the game, everything like that. And if you do want these character collecting ones, look at different ways of doing it. For example, like trailers, animated shorts. They do so much better in terms of driving up engagement and driving up a lot of attention to these characters that they're going to do better in the long run. And I honestly just think it's a better way to do things. For example, we saw with Zone Zero, they do little animated shorts for some of their characters. The Pulchra one which came out the other month, was extremely popular among people, and it was only like a minute long. You know, you should do more of that. Upload it onto every platform, promote it as an ad, and people are going to, you know, follow that. You know, I don't mind these characters, you know, having these aspects or whatever, and this being a part of the game. But let's be honest, you know, this is cringe either way, and it doesn't really work with the game or fit the game style. You know, whenever Wuthering Waves first announced, it was, you know, kind of announced as this like apocalyptic kind of, you know, messed up world and everything like that. And meanwhile, we got this dude doing the no thirst challenge on some of these characters and stuff like that. And it's just like, it just defeats the whole point and the whole theme of the game, you know. As I said, you know, other games do it better, and I think it also does it better in other games due to the fact that they're meant for that. They're meant to be these collectors that don't take themselves that seriously, but they have some quite cool character designs and quite cool gameplay, which I think is great and it fits them. But for Wuthering Waves, I feel like we take things much more seriously with the story, and I feel like it's much more mature. And well, you know, this advert, let's be real, it kind of targets it towards kids as well, which honestly, I don't really like. But again, I feel like there could be better ways just to go about this, and I think you could ask like any other creator in the space to actually do this and actually do a like better advert than this. They would do it in a heartbeat, and honestly, I'd like to see more creators getting involved in more adverts, because again, it provides more of a community sense and also provides a recognizable figure to tell you how to go, because no one knows who this guy is. You know, this guy might just get paid for doing adverts. This guy might be a creator. I'm not sure. I don't know who he is at all. But at the same time, you know, it's still incredibly cringe, and I think a lot of people don't like it at all. And I've seen a lot of people obviously in the comments as well saying, why does a game company have to be weird in ways to advertise their game? And it's not only wuwa, it also happens with Genshin and Honkai Star, which is true. They've also done it in Hoyoverse games as well, and it seems to be a very common advertising technique to do these kind of very cringy, you know, type adverts, which, you know, I don't know who's getting this data or who's like saying that these are the best ones that are actually working, but I'm gonna be real, I feel like they aren't working that well. Like, is it really worth it? Now they say, yeah, wuwa has no escape of it and no chance of escaping the Guna allegations. It's not allegations anymore, it's the truth, which again is kind of true. They say the caption with the video is far and be so bad. Story rich, Shog Sky simping for waifus. Exactly, you know, they're saying story rich open world action RPG with a high degree of freedom, which is just completely different to what they're showing in the advert, which yeah, is an incredible contrast there. They say, why is it all these games with big budgets that have the worst advertising slop? Like, come on. Story rich game in the captions as this screams, my destined waifu, I'm so dull. More story rich game, more like waifu rich game. Obviously, yeah, they say selective blindness is real. So yeah, there has been like periods in time where obviously, yeah, Genshin Impact has done exactly the same. Hoyoverse has done exactly the same, and I'm pretty sure they might have even done some for Xenophon Zero in terms of these kind of shorter adverts. But let's be real, whenever it comes to any of these games, nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to see the cringy ass adverts that are coming out from these people. You know, they say, ugh, this is so cringy, yikes. They said, did you get blocked by wuwa? I bet they won't respond. I don't know what's worse, this or the feet ad. Obviously, other people are going pretty crazy too. This is another one for like a Honkai Star ad, which also was an animation. I feel like this advert is actually fake. The skip ad button doesn't look real at all. But yeah, it's just a thing that happens in gacha games over time, and I really hope that, you know, Wuthering Waves doesn't really follow this in the long run. This is also another advert that someone put that they found on their shorts, which obviously is about Zani's character design, and as you can see here, they do like a little rip thing to show off, you know, some of the ultimate like form. Oh my Jesus Christ, that is an absolutely crazy advert to be kind of showcasing for Wuthering Waves, because let's be real, although it does have a lot of Guna type designs, it's not inherently a Guna game, I don't think I'd say. You know, obviously yes, you know, cantarella and that are absolutely crazy. It does kind of, you know, blur the lines a little bit of like what Wuthering Waves actually is, but I wouldn't say it's anywhere close to anything like a Nikkei or something like that where it's just all goon. Like, let's be real, those ones are all goon, whereas Wuthering Waves is like, you know, a bit of goon, you know, quite a bit of goon. And I feel like, you know, that is something that they don't want to lean too much into, because it could affect the game in the long term and make Wuthering Waves seem like it's something that is not. And well, it seems like that's how they're advertising it at the moment on a lot of these platforms. So yeah, I'll have to keep this situation monitored. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Do you think that these adverts are good for the game? Do you think they should continue doing it? Or do you think that they are incredibly cringe and that we should, you know, obviously stop this as soon as possible and find a different way of advertising the game? Because honestly, I'm of the opinion of the latter half. I feel like these are incredibly cringy, And yeah, they should be changed in general. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And also go to GameStop, use my code CASA, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. I definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.